He messed with my mail. I messed with his life. I like things neat, organized, predictable. My house is meticulously clean, my code is thoroughly commented, and my schedule is well scheduled. I'm a software engineer and my life runs on algorithms. I live in a quiet little suburban neighborhood, or I used to live in a quiet neighborhood. Brenda, my next-door neighbor, is a sweet lady, widowed a few years back. She spends most of her time tending to her garden and spoiling her ridiculously fluffy Persian cat, Mr. Fluffernutter. Brenda's the kind of neighbor who waves when you pull into the driveway and brings over cookies on holidays. I appreciate her quiet presence. Then there's Chad. Chad lives across the street. He owns a landscaping business, Chad's Cuts, or some equally obnoxious name. Chad is the antithesis of everything I value. He's loud, he's arrogant, and he treats the neighborhood like his personal kingdom. He drives a monster truck that probably violates several noise ordinances, blasts country music at all hours, and generally makes a nuisance of himself. My hobby is electronics, building custom computers, tinkering with microcontrollers, designing circuit boards. It's my escape. It requires focus, precision, and most importantly, expensive components. That's where the trouble started. A few weeks ago, I was expecting a package containing a rare Raspberry Pi board, a specific model that's crucial for a project I was working on. It never arrived. I checked the tracking number, it said delivered. I figured it was a postal service error. It happens. Then it happened again. A package containing some specialized sensors I needed for another project went missing. Again, the tracking said delivered. Now I was suspicious. 2 missing packages in a month. That's beyond coincidence. I bought a cheap security camera online, one of those stick-up models. I aimed it at my mailbox. It wasn't high-tech, but it was better than nothing. I figured if the mailman was misdelivering, I could at least catch it on camera. I never expected what I actually saw. The next day, I reviewed the footage. There he was, Chad, bouncing across the street, swaggering up to my mailbox and pulling out a package. He glanced around, as if checking to see if anyone was watching, apparently not realizing he was on camera, then sauntered back to his house with my package tucked under his arm. Rage, pure, unadulterated rage. My first instinct was to confront him, yell at him, maybe even something worse, but I took a breath. I calmed down. That's not how I operate. I'm a planner, I'm methodical, I prefer a calculated approach. I decided on a strategy. Petty revenge. That was the key. Something annoying, something inconvenient, but nothing that would land me in jail. My first act was to sign Chad up for every free sample and promotional offer I could find online, every junk mail list, every unwanted catalog. I used his full name, every variation I could think of: Chad Michael Thompson, Chad M. Thompson, C. Thompson, etc. The next few days were glorious. The postal carrier, Mr. Henderson, looked increasingly harried as he stuffed Chad's mailbox with mountains of junk mail. I watched from my window, a grim smile on my face. Chad retaliated. He started revving his monster truck engine at 6:00 a.m. every morning. The whole house vibrated. Then he started dumping his landscaping debris, grass clippings, leaves, branches near my property line. It was a clear message. I confided in Sarah, a colleague from work. She's sharp, independent, and doesn't take crap from anyone. Document everything, Liam, she advised. Dates, times, photos, videos, you need proof. So I did. I started a log. Every instance of Chad's harassment meticulously recorded. Next, I targeted his business. I found Chad's Cuts website and started leaving subtly negative reviews. Not outright lies, but carefully worded criticisms. The crew was a little careless around my flower beds. The edging was a bit uneven. The overall service was adequate. I also started anonymously reporting minor code violations on his landscaping jobs to the city. Overgrown lawns, unpermitted tree removal, improper disposal of yard waste. Small things, but enough to cause him headaches. I could see it was working. Chad became increasingly agitated. He'd glare at me across the street, a vein throbbing in his forehead. One afternoon, he confronted me as I was getting the mail. I know it's you. Liam, he snarled. You're the one screwing with my business. I have no idea what you're talking about, Chad, I said, my voice dripping with innocence. I'm just a simple software engineer. Why would I do that? He sputtered, unable to articulate his accusations without proof. Just stop it, he growled before stomping back to his truck. The mail tampering escalated. Chad started opening my packages. He'd slash the boxes with a box cutter, damage the contents, and leave taunting notes inside. Think you're so smart, huh? One note read. I upgraded my security system. I installed hidden cameras strategically placed to capture everything. It wasn't cheap, but it was worth it. I needed irrefutable proof. And I got it. Crystal clear footage of Chad rifling through my mailbox, tearing open my packages and defacing my property. I took the evidence to the police. Officer Miller, a weary-looking man with a permanent 5 o'clock shadow, took my report. He reviewed the video. "This is pretty damning, Mr. Hayes," he said. "We can charge him with petty theft, vandalism, maybe mail tampering." "And that's it?" I asked, frustrated. "A slap on the wrist." "Unfortunately, yes," Officer Miller said. "It's not exactly a major crime spree. The DA probably won't pursue anything too serious." I was disappointed. I needed more. I needed something that would really hurt him. I started digging. I spent hours researching Chad's business, his permits, his licenses, his past clients. I scoured public records. I even paid for access to some online databases, and I found it. Chad's Cuts was operating without the proper landscaping permits. He'd been skirting the regulations for years. I also uncovered instances of him overcharging customers, using unlicensed contractors, and engaging in some seriously shady business practices. I had my ammunition. I anonymously sent a tip to the local news. I provided them with copies of the permits, the customer complaints, the evidence of his illegal activities. They ran with it. The story broke on the evening news. Local landscaping company accused of operating illegally, the headline screamed. They interviewed several disgruntled customers. They showed footage of Chad's unpermitted landscaping jobs. It was a disaster for him. Chad's Cuts was under scrutiny. The city launched an investigation. He faced fines, legal trouble, and a massive loss of clients. His reputation was in tatters. He snapped. One morning I woke up to find my car vandalized. Scratched paint, slashed tires, a broken windshield. I knew who was responsible. Later that day, as I was walking home from the grocery store, Chad confronted me. He was wild-eyed, his face contorted with rage. "You did this, didn't you?" he screamed, shoving me against a fence. "You ruined my life." I tried to defend myself, but he was too strong. He landed a punch to my jaw. I stumbled back, blood trickling from my lip. That's when Brenda intervened. She came running out of her house, brandishing a garden trowel and yelling at Chad to leave me alone. He hesitated, momentarily stunned by her unexpected outburst. "I'm calling the police," she shrieked. "Get away from him, Chad," realizing he was being observed, finally backed off and stormed away. Brenda helped me up, her face etched with concern. "Are you all right, dear?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'll be okay, Brenda," I said, wiping the blood from my mouth. "Thank you." The police arrived a few minutes later. They took my statement and arrested Chad for assault and vandalism. It had escalated beyond petty grievances. Chad was released on bail the next day. He was even more volatile than before. The community turned against him. People whispered behind his back. His business was collapsing. I felt a sense of satisfaction. He was finally facing the consequences of his actions. But I also felt a growing unease. Had I gone too far? Was this all worth it? Brenda, sensing my turmoil, offered me some advice. "Revenge is a dangerous thing, Liam," she said. "It can consume you. Don't let it." Chad's landscaping business imploded. He lost his house. His reputation was ruined. He was a pariah. Then he started sending me veiled threats, anonymous text messages, cryptic notes left on my doorstep. I feared for my safety. One morning I woke up and Chad was gone, vanished. Some people said he'd left town to start over. Others speculated he was planning something more sinister. I improved my home's security system. I installed motion sensors, floodlights, and even more cameras. I was constantly looking over my shoulder. Life on the street returned to a semblance of normalcy, but the atmosphere was different. Tense, subdued. A week later, I received a package in the mail, no return address. Inside was a single damaged electronic component, a rare resistor, bent and broken. Attached to it was a note, scrawled in messy handwriting. "You won for now." I stared at the note, a chill running down my spine. Had I really won? Or had I just started a war that would never end? I looked out the window into the quiet, suburban street. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the lawns. Everything seemed peaceful, ordinary. But I knew, deep down, that nothing would ever be the same. The algorithm of my life had been irrevocably altered, and I wasn't sure if I could ever put it back in order.